Yeah, hi Leanne. Remember speaker view. Okay, so we can start the chanting, and then we'll do the meditation after that. Just remind you that on Tuesday I reposted the teaching from the 2nd of January, and that's got a lot of detail in relation to the meditation practices that we do. Okay, so you can, I know one of you said that you prefer to have more detail. Actually, we'll continue doing as we do at the moment with a bit longer Dharma talk. And so if you can have a look at that 2nd of January teaching, I posted it on the past Tuesday. Okay, so at least, I think it's about half an hour with chanting and meditation as well. And then, of course, mantras, which we'll talk about a bit later as well, because I've had a question related to mantras. There's a bit of detail teaching on mantras on the 16th of January, which I posted on Thursday. Okie dokie, or reposted Thursday. So let's start the chanting. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutayambi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutayambi Sangham saranam gacchami. Tatayambi Buddham saranam gacchami. Tatayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatayambi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering, and may they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Soha. So I hope you feel nice now, ready for meditation. And initially, as we always do, we're going to relax the body, release whatever tension you have in your body, whatever you can release. And we'll start at the bottom of the body and work our way through to the midsection first. So you start doing that now by closing your eyes, sitting in a nice position, gently touching your lips as you breathe in and out of your nose. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't try too much. Don't try too little. And once you've done that, release the tension from the upper part of your body, from the lower stomach and lower back, all the way to the tips of your fingers. And also from your neck and the rest of your head and face to the top of your head. For anybody who would prefer more detail, I remind you to have a look at the 2nd of January teachings that I reposted on Tuesday. And also before the class, maybe you can actually do that. Do the longer relaxing of the body, the longer breath meditation, and even longer loving kindness meditation just before the class. So now bring your mind to the tip of your nose and follow the breath as we breathe in and out. Breathing right away into your lungs and then breathing out. Focusing on the breath. If any thoughts arise, or any mental agitation arises, don't cling to it or grasp at it. Don't try to forcefully push it away or deny it. Just refocus on your breath. Bring your mind to your breath and let these agitations come and go naturally. If your mind becomes dull, then wake it up by focusing more brightly on your breath. So I noticed that somebody's trying to connect their audio. If you can avoid doing that, that would be really good. Unless, of course, you're connecting the audio so that you can hear the teachings. So now we'll practice like this in silence for a couple of minutes. Also, Leanne, if you can check that we're on speaker view, because actually the view that I'm having and have had since we started recording is everybody's on there. And I'm not sure whether that's just for me seeing that. Okay, that's good. So now focusing on your breath, breathing in and out. have an inner smile. And even an outer smile. For when we smile, we only use apparently 16 muscles, facial muscles. But when we frown, we use 64 facial muscles. So like I like to say, don't work your face overtime. I can add to that and say, don't work your mind overtime as you practice this meditation. So as we bring this short meditation to a close right now, you can feel very pleased with yourself. Of course, I remind you that when you are engaging in your meditation practice every day, you should do longer than this. Although if you only have this amount of time, then do that, utilize it well. Fill yourself with loving kindness. Until it overflows now, and you radiate it outwards also to your loved ones, family and friends. Further and further gradually to now include strangers. And even those that you find difficult, may even call enemies. And radiate to all living beings around your area. Further and further to include your whole state, your whole county. And throughout your whole country. May loving kindness pervade throughout your whole country, originating in your heart, your mind. And other countries throughout the whole world. Like a tidal wave of loving kindness, further and further throughout the whole solar system, and throughout the whole galaxy, and the whole universe, and throughout infinite space. Infinite space pervaded by universal, immeasurable loving kindness. And now also be present here and now, and we will recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And so now we'll have a little chat. I've got quite a few questions. First of all, sorry for any confusion there. You know how technology companies are always updating. Maybe that's what happened here. It's just looking different on my computer. But that's all right, isn't it? It's impermanent. And I just wanted to make sure. And just let some of you who don't know, when we do open up the mics, it creates some sort of delay in the sound and some confusion in the sound. That's why we're not doing it. Maybe because we have the free Zoom and we didn't do the professional one or something. Okay, so there's a few questions. The first one came about language. I'll be really quick with this one, okay? The question came from somebody saying, what is the better language to practice Buddhism, Pali or Sanskrit? And so I'll just remind you, first of all, that the Pali canon, the Theravada tradition, had this canon written down initially in Pali, okay? So, and utilize the Pali language. I think it's really important, if we are really serious about our practice, that we do learn at least the Pali words so that we can refer to them, so that the meaning of them doesn't get lost in translation into our language. So like, for instance, we use the word Buddha, and the translation of that is the enlightened one, or enlightened ones, if you say Buddhas, you know, so, or awakened ones. We can do that, but I think it's good to also know Buddha, okay? The same with Dharma, you know, the teachings of the Buddha, or the way to enlightenment. I think it's good to use the word Dharma. Now, Sanskrit is the language that it is said that the Mahayana scriptures were written down in. Sanskrit is a mother language, and Pali is a derivative, one of the many derivatives, it is said, that comes from Sanskrit. They are very closely related. So don't get lost in what language it comes from. I tend to use the spelling and pronunciation of the Sanskrit, but also have learned the Pali. Okay, so it doesn't matter. If I'm speaking to Theravada practitioners, I tend to use Pali. And if it's Mahayana practitioners, I tend to use Sanskrit. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It's just a language to express the meaning, okay? So there's no better language as such. Probably the best language actually for you to learn the Dharma in is your own language, the native language, or the language that you speak the most. For instance, we're speaking English right now, so learn it in English, but also you learn the basic languages as well, Pali, Sanskrit, or if you're studying say Chinese Buddhism, then you learn the classical Chinese, or Tibetan Buddhism, maybe you learn Tibetan for reference, okay? So that we don't, like I said, lose the meaning in translation. But what is the best language? What is the true international language? Silence. That is the true international language. You could say that the silence maybe is representative here of insight or wisdom. But what is the other international, more active international language? Loving kindness and compassion. And you could say, obviously, this is like an expression of compassion. Okay, so the true international language is silence. The true connection for this international language is loving kindness and compassion. Okay, so that's the answer for that question. Hopefully that covers that. Don't get into arguments about language. It's a little bit silly unless we're trying to teach each other, you know, learn from each other. But actually look for the meaning behind the words. And then once you understand that and understand how to put that into practice, do it, okay? Even more important, to actually put it into practice whenever you come to understanding the meaning of the words of the teachings of the Buddha. The next one, got quite a few messages for Happy Vesak. Vesak, of course, is the celebrating the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing away of the Buddha. And different traditions have it on slightly different days, some of these different aspects, but generally we can say that the three aspects, we celebrate this on the full moon day of the lunar month of Vesak. Okay, so some have already started the celebrations and the commemorations, but the actual day is the 26th of May this year. Of course, it changes on the solar calendar every year because it goes by the lunar calendar. And so 26th of May coming up very soon. So I can say to you, happy Vesak, everybody. And once again, I remind you, it is a good time to check our minds, check to see what we've been up to. You know, if we've acted upon negative, afflictive emotions, then have some positive regret for that and make a resolve not to do it again and improve. If we have been engaging in virtuous actions and deeds, then rejoice and increase doing that. Okay, so that's, I think, the really important part. The birth of the Buddha is very important to remember this. Very, very lucky Bodhisattva born, and for sure going to attain enlightenment in that lifetime. Then, of course, there's the enlightenment 35 years after the birth, and then giving the teachings for 45 years before giving the final teaching of impermanence at 80 years old. Okay, so this is important, that we know the aspects and we can contemplate these aspects and realize how fortunate we are, how really lucky we are to be born at a time and in a place where the Dharma is still practiced. There's still the genuine practitioners giving the teachings as well. Maybe we're not lucky enough to be born when the Buddha was born, or I remember hearing the Dalai Lama one time, and of course I've said this myself over the years, copying him in a sense, but he said maybe around the time of the Buddha, he was like a little insect walking on a tree while the Buddha was giving a discourse, and it left some imprint on his mind. I think actually the Dalai Lama may be already far beyond that, but for the rest of us, maybe that's how we got the imprint, you know, to listen to these teachings. Maybe we were a little creature around the time of the Buddha, maybe not human yet, or maybe we were. Maybe I'm speaking to a whole lot of bodhisattvas here. Actually, I am speaking to a whole lot of bodhisattvas, but we don't realize it yet, do we? On the way to enlightenment. Okay, so some other questions, so I don't get lost. I've written them down. I've already reminded you to watch the 2nd of January and the 16th of January. The next question came related to mudras. A mudra is, you could say, sacred hand gestures. These mudras are practiced in other traditions as well. From Buddhist perspective, obviously there's too many mudras for me to explain to you now, and some of them I don't know anyway. But mudras are used to give, you could say, give the teachings, to have a meaning behind them. So when you engage in a mudra, you should bring this to your mind, you know. So, you know, like an image of the Buddha, like a painting of the Buddha, or a, you know, statue or something like that. That's there to remind you. And they have different positions. They use different hand gestures, or mudras, body positions, and they have a meaning behind it. So try to look in the scriptures for the meaning, and then just as soon as you see an image like that, or you're engaging in the practice of mudra or mantra or anything like this, then you bring the meaning to your mind straight away. Okay, yeah, mudra, there's 3 mudras that I use in the chanting for the classes, the preliminary prayers that we do. The first one is like that. Now, of course, some traditions are more flat, you know, like that. And this one is like that. You know, you're folding your thumbs inside your hands, and it's representative of a lotus flower, representative of enlightenment. This is very much practiced in the Tibetan tradition, as most of you know. Probably in the longest time, or in the middle of my lifetime anyway, I was really involved and into studying in the Tibetan tradition and practicing the Tibetan tradition. Okay, just to maybe give you some slightly more details there. In the beginning, it was Zen, and then, of course, it became Zen again. But there's no difference, okay? There's no difference between Pure Land or Zen or Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Actually, the difference is in your mind, isn't it? It's in our interpretation of teachings, because we all have mind. Buddha's teachings there to train the mind. So this one here, so when you could putting the palms together for some, And for others, maybe folding the thumbs inside, and it's symbolic of the lotus, okay, which is symbolic of enlightenment. The other one is also from the Tibetan tradition that I do, and it's the offering of the mandala, the whole universe. Okay, it's a bit hard for me to see whether I'm actually showing you right, but maybe not. Maybe just show you like that. You have 4 directions with your thumbs and fingers holding other fingers down. That's 4 directions. Okay, and so then, of course, you have the in-between directions, what we call the 10 directions, cardinal directions, the in-between ones, and above and below, or zenith and nadir, okay? And so this means everywhere. So you're offering everything from everywhere, from all of the directions, and everything within them, okay? Within the whole of infinite space, you're offering up to the Buddhas, okay? The 2 fingers in the middle, they represent Mount Meru, Mount Sumeru, which you can say in an iconography, the of the cosmos. This is representative once again of all of the realms of existence. Okay, too much to go into detail now, but please do some research on it. Okay, and then you can find out a lot more yourself about this, 32 different levels and 31, I'm sorry, etc., etc. But you can ask me questions too, and then I can answer you and then follow it up in future classes online, because I'm actually, hopefully you're enjoying it as well. I'm actually quite enjoying answering the questions, and so I think we'll go on like this for another couple of weeks before the next subject starts. Hope you don't mind that. And in fact, maybe it's good for you to have more anticipation and looking forward to the next subject too. But the questions, I think, are very poignant and very important right now to answer them. Then, of course, there's a gap in between. You can't really see that, I think, but there's a big gap in between, or just to just at the top of where the fingers are there, where the Mount Meru is, and that represents the sun. Then you have another one, a smaller one below that, representing the moon. Okay, so I think that's enough detail for that. Okay, but normally in the Tibetan tradition, and I could see, so not enough detail, because actually it's your question. So, okay, but anyway, so you can look that up online as well, and actually let me know what you find, and then I can clarify it for you as well, because I think for you to see an image of it from above, and also, from here and from there, I think you'll get it. You get what I'm talking about. But it's a bit hard with only a little camera here for me to show everybody, all right? Without being like contorting myself. Okay, so then that's making offerings. And the offering prayer actually in shorter version in Tibetan is which basically means this ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn, Mount Meru, foreland, sun and moon. Imagine there's a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, strangers, body, wealth, and enjoyments. I offer these without any sense of loss. Please accept them with pleasure and inspire me and others to be free from 3 poisonous attitudes. Okay, so that's the medium length one. And then, of course, there's longer ones as well. And we don't do that in our preliminary prayers, because we cover that in the second line of the 7-limb practice. Okay, that's the reason why I do that very briefly at that time. Okay, then there's another one which is holding like that, and then the ring finger, if you want, going here. This is one of the mudras that represents giving Dharma teachings. Okay, so like that, and then touching on the right here, touching with your ring finger. And so that is one of, not the only one. The Buddha utilized, depending on what teachings he was giving, I think, and where he was giving the teachings. For instance, another one is like this, like standing up. And then really, I think what that means is, stop, I'm going to give a teaching. This is when he was walking through the forest with his monks and nuns. Okay, so that is those ones. There's other ones too, of course. like this when we're meditating, Vajra, Vajra position, I should say, of the hands, or the mudra. And then sometimes people would call the lotus as well. But different traditions do different things. It's okay. The hand gestures are part of our body, obviously. And whatever we do with our body when we're practicing, whether it's formal sitting practice or whether it's in our everyday lives, then the body positions can help train the mind, and vice versa. And then, of course, I think I'll leave it there to do with mudras. This mudras helps us to practice with our body, utilizing the body to train the mind. And then, of course, especially in Vajrayana tradition, there's utilized a lot of mantras as well. Now, this is using our verbal abilities to be able to train the mind. Okay, so you may do a mudra or a sequence of mudras along with the mantra, as well as visualization. You visualize, maybe in front of you is a Buddha or a Bodhisattva or your teachers, or on top of your head. Or you even go through the process of having everything dissolve into emptiness, and then you arising as a enlightened being. This is using, what have you got there? I can't quite see it. You've frozen, but it looks interesting. It actually looks like a bagel. Didn't quite see it. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, very good. Kuan Yin, Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva. Yeah, or Kuan Yin in Chinese, Quan Nam Vietnamese, Chenre Si Sempa in Tibetan. Sempa means Bodhisattva. I think, anyway. I can't remember. I don't really sort of utilize Tibetan language much anymore. But anyway, so mantra, like I said, 16th of January, I reposted it on Thursday. And there's probably about 10 minutes or more at the start, close, just before we did meditation, actually. I did it in a different order in that class. And you can, a little bit of meaning of Om Mani Padme Hum, and also of Teata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Samgate Bodhi Soha. And so mantra, it means, it comes man, it's short for the word manas, which means mind, and tra is representative of protection. So mind protection, mantra. Some people think they're magical. No, they're not. What's magical is that we can attain enlightenment. In fact, that's not magical at all, is it? That's the nature of reality. But we have a bit of work to do before we realize that. Okay, so the visualization, like I said, you utilize your mind. So once again, mudra and body positions, you're utilizing your body. Mantra, you're utilizing your verbal abilities or your speech. And then the visualization, you're using your mind, body, speech, and mind. And this is engaging in the practice. Okay, so you visualize, even sometimes I've said to you to visualize your body filling with white nectar or white light when we're doing loving kindness meditation. This is to help, get that feeling of loving kindness. And then, of course, radiating it outwards. You can also utilize the lights or the nectar in doing so, and filling the other living beings with this nectar or lights as well. Okay, so I think that's enough for these three things that come together, really, don't they? Mudra, the mantra, and the visualization. I think, okay, what's next? How long have I got? Only 4 minutes, wow. The next one, I think I'll read. I've got it here in Messenger. Ahmed couldn't take part in today's class, but he's looking forward to seeing the video, and it's his question. It says, is a better samsara one of the goals of Buddhist practice, or is the sole goal liberation from samsara? For example, should I be concerned about issues like human rights and poverty, or avoid politics completely? How dedicated should I be to personal growth teachers? And he's given a few people's names. Then Also, can you please explain more about right intention and its 3 components, especially renunciation? I'm unclear about what renunciation actually is. And this is my answer. It's a very brief answer, okay? And maybe I can elaborate a little on this. I said the ultimate goal in Buddhist practice is liberation from samsara. But along the way, we need to create the causes to be able to attain this. And therefore, we will have a better samsara, as you say. That's using his words. I think it was a post yesterday, maybe that I put on Facebook, and it was in response to this part of the question. And it relates to really, we want to be free from samsara, okay? But as we work our way on the Dharma path and slowly improve, slowly purify our mind, or gradually purify our mind, then we will experience all of the good results along the way. You know, so we will experience the results from the fields of merit that we create, merit that we accumulate by engaging in good deeds of the body, speech, and mind, okay? It's like climbing a ladder. If your intention is to go to the top of the ladder, and let's say there's 10 rungs or 10 steps on the ladder, you're going to experience every step as you go. So your intention is very high, but along the way, you experience the results of climbing that ladder. Then I said, we need wisdom and merit. So yes, we should do whatever we can to cause happiness and avoid causing suffering for ourselves and others. We should develop love and compassion for all, which includes being non-violent, caring for human rights, caring for those that are experiencing poverty, etc., and trying to do something about it as well, if we can. Staying informed with politics is fine too, but not too much. Don't become upset either by attaching to any of it. You just do it to be informed, to learn from it. And actually, it can give us the opportunity to work out what it is we need to do and what we can do off the cushion, if there's anything we can do to benefit ourselves and others. I'm not aware of those personal growth teachers you mentioned. I feel that everything we need is in the Dharma. But also some of those teachers can be helpful too, depending on their intention and on their knowledge, and etc., and their skills. Renunciation is basically turning your focus away from worldly things and aiming it towards enlightenment instead. Right intention includes this, as well as having intention free from attachment or greed and aversion or hatred. I know that we're going to finish very soon, so I'm going to have to pick this up next week. Because there's also bodhicitta intention that we need to talk about too. Okay, so practice well. I hope you've enjoyed the class, and I look forward to next week, and look forward to your questions as well. Please send them to me.